2010 Mercury Mariner. It's got the 2. I think it's a 2.5. Yes, 2.5 4-cylinder. So this is actually my wife's car. We were driving it, and the temperature hand started going up and down, and the heat stopped getting hot. So pulled over, checked around the engine, and didn't see anything leaking, but I noticed I heard a hissing sound coming from the engine. Sound like water bubbling. Now it's got coolant in it. It's just kind of low. Well, really low. It's supposed to be at this line right here. And I said, I don't see anything leaking. So we got to moving again. Temperature hand going up, going down. When you turn the heater on, the hand will go back to normal. As soon as you turn it off, it'll go back hot. So anyway, got up this morning, got my radiator pressure kit out. It's the kit you can just pick up off of Amazon. I've had it for a long time. It's got all the different fittings. You can do the old radiators with just the metal pop-on cap or screw-on cap. You can do Volkswagens. Anything with a bottle you can do. Real good kit. It's actually got a bleeder that you can use to bleed the air out of the system. It's not in here. I took it out. I've got it. I think I tried to use it for something else. I don't even know what I did with it. Oh, here it is. It's been hanging on the wall for so long. But that's the bleeder. You can bleed the air out of the system and everything. This hose hooks to it. I kind of took it apart because I was trying to use it for, I think I was using it for, I don't remember what I was using for. Anyway, back to the story. So anyway, pressure tested it, and this is the thermostat housing right here, where your bottom radiator hose go. I built the pressure up on it, and I'll show you what I found when it was leaking from. So this is the thermostat housing right here. I'm gonna show you where I found out where it was leaking from. If I pressure the system, you hear it. So I just got some soapy water. Put it right there. And you can see those bubbles back there. So it's leaking right behind where the housing flushes up against the block. As I can remember, I think it's a big O-ring. I think the thermostat's in there, and then it's a big O-ring up in there. So you have to pull the housing off. But I'm gonna get it off there. But I noticed it had a little coolant on top of the transmission. So it's just been slowly leaking over time, and then it just got bad. But like I said, I just sprayed a lot of soapy water over there. So either that housing's cracked or the O-ring is bad. But if you're gonna tear it down that much, you might as well just put a new thermostat and a new O-ring. I think this truck's got almost 200,000 miles on it. So I've never had to change the thermostat. So I'm gonna get this off and flip it over and see what it looks like. I'm gonna have to drain all the coolant out. It looks like it's about some 8mm screws. I see one there. That's one probably at the bottom. A couple hoses. The bottom radiator hose, that heater hose. And there's another. Oh, that hose don't go to it. There's a hose up under here, but it look like it's just this heater hose. Sorry about that. This hose right here, and then the bottom radiator hose right here. So anyway, I'm gonna get that off. Like I say, it's just some 8 millimeter head bolts. I'm gonna get that off, and we'll see what it looks like. All right, I'm gonna start by taking these hoses off. I got one of these hose clamp, squeeze clamp removal tools. Them hoses be baked on there too. Ain't no, just pulling them right off. All that heat with plastic. I like the squeeze clamps. I mean, not the squeeze clamps. The regular screw-on clamps. But those ships don't really, or factory rather, they don't really use that stuff no more. They want to use these special clamps. I'm gonna take a flat head, hopefully not mess the hose up. Just kind of wiggle that hose a little bit. I guess they make their own hose clamps in the factory, so that way they can save money. Take your screwdriver, just kind of stick it in the hose and walk it around a little bit. Loosen it up. Or if you have some of those hose picks, they got some little picks you can stick inside the hose. But you have to be careful with those, you can stab a hole in it. I got a set, I just don't want to use them. Man, that hose is on there. There we go. Well, we know it's low on coolant, and that went my screwdriver. Try to move this out of the way. Now I gotta find my screwdriver. Fell way on down there. Jeez. I wasn't planning on getting dirty, but I guess it's not an option. Just right in my way. Same way. It's got the I got one of those clamps that's clamping the hoses together. I don't need that. Try not to destroy the housing, or I have seen some thermostat housings that the thermostat is actually made in it. I don't remember on these. That hose did not want to come off there. Alright, so the hose is off. So now I just got to get a 8mm socket or 5/16, whatever you might have. And I think the top bolt is inside of this hole right here. It's got a little hole where you can stick your socket and extension. You can use a short extension. Get something. One, and there's one right here. One of that noise is the washing machine. It's right on the other side of the wall in the garage. There's got to be another bolt. I'm thinking it's got 4 bolts. If this one's down here is a if it's an 8mm, it's got to be it. It's kind of a big housing. Yeah, it's starting to move. So I'm thinking it's 4. Just be sure not to drop it. And I think all 4 are the same length. You gotta find that one. It's hard to see. It's gotta be. I think there's another hose at the bottom. There's another hose at the bottom with a clamp on it. I didn't see that at first. It is another hose at the bottom of it. And I didn't see, but you can't see it unless you take the housing off. Yep, there's the O-ring. Look at that. It's the O-ring. Look at it, it's blowed out right there. Oops. I'll find it. Fell out. Let me see if I can get this. It's got one of those squeeze clamps right there. I'll find the screw. Got some long needle nose. Probably can use it to squeeze that. probably don't have to change the whole housing. I got a pan up under there. I don't know if we can get by just putting another O-ring. I don't know if that's a... Actually, that's not the thermostat housing. It's just a bypass. Some kind of coolant bypass. There's no thermostat in there. Oh yeah, the plastic's broke. I'll show you once I get it off. We're gonna have to change the whole thing. So there's no thermostat in there at all. That's just some kind of coolant bypass housing. And that's what we'll call it, unless Ford calls it something else. If it does, I'll link it. Ow. I can use these to loosen that hose up. That's a negative. I mean, that plastic, it just cooks those hoses on there. It'll come off there now. Oh, okay. All right, now we can get a look at it. So as you see, the plastic has just deteriorated where this O-ring goes. Look at that. It's all brittle. It's a big chunk missing. So the O-ring is just blowing by. And it's swelled out. It won't even fit back in there right. So this is a coolant bypass housing. It's got a MOCO, whatever you call it. Trying to see if it's got a part number on it. I see a 6S4G8K556-AA. So I'm thinking right here is a let me see, it's the part number right there. So I'm gonna call O'Reilly's and see if they got one, because the housing is blowed out right there, so you can't use it even if you put another O-ring in there. And we didn't destroy any hoses or nothing, so we ought to be able to put it back together. I gotta find that screw, which it fell somewhere down there. And hopefully that'll solve our coolant leak and heating problem. So let me do some parts wrangling and we'll get back. So I got on O'Reilly's website, and it's called a water outlet. Not very expensive, probably about $50 something or $50 after taxes, $48 anyway. So it's a water outlet housing, and it comes with the little O-ring already on there. You can see it there. So basic plastic stuff. There ain't no getting around it, no siliconing and all that stuff. Now I did find the thermostat. Like I was saying, it's made into the housing like I figured. Come on. So that's the thermostat there, $31. It's got different degrees of thermostat settings or sizes or whatever. But I don't think we got that problem. The problem was just that plastic just eating away on that outlet housing. So the thermostat is actually on the bottom of the engine, or kind of at the front rather. It is right there where that hose is going. So that's actually the bottom radiator hose there. The other one was the top. So that's the housing right there. It's got two hoses on it, and it looks like some 8mm bolts. So if you have to change your thermostat, that's where it is, right over the top of the compressor. So looks like it'd be kind of tight to get in there. I see two of the bolts on top, and I bet you there's one at the bottom, probably 3 bolts. But that's that. I'm not gonna worry with that. I'm just gonna go ahead, go down, and get this housing and get it on there, and I think we'll be good to go. Put the right type of coolant back in it. It's got that kind of orange looking, yellowish, not orange, but yellowish looking coolant in it. I think it's that special coolant for aluminum engines. You'll see it anyway. But I'm gonna put what's in there back in there. If you're going to change coolant in any engine, you want to flush out the old and go back with whatever you're gonna go with. Some engines use Dexcool. Some people don't like Dexcool because it turns into like chalky stuff. It stops up stuff, it eats away stuff. If you're going to change it to green, flush it out. Put only green. Do not mix green with Dexcool. It will really gum up the system, really mess you up. You'll start having cooling issues. Flush it out, put in whatever coolant you're going to run. I know Hondas use that blue stuff. Some Hondas, that Asian coolant, they got orange. I mean, it's like not orange, it's like purplish. The Honda's got blue. I mean, it's all kind of different colors. But if you're gonna run any of that, be sure to flush out the old stuff real good and run what coolant you're gonna use. Manufacturers want you to use certain types of coolant that came from the factory with these cars, which is fine. But some people tend to let mechanics work on their stuff, on the coolant system, and they just go grab green coolant because that's what all the older cars used was green. They'll grab the green, they'll dump it in there. What's in the block is the factory-based coolant, and they'll mix it up, and then next thing you know, you got problems. So please just flush it out. So anyway, enough yapping. I'm gonna go down and get this housing, see if they got it in stock, and move on. Alright, so went to the local O'Reilly's and picked up the water outlet. And here it is. Just a big piece of plastic with some brass threaded inserts. And it's got the O-ring that's already on there. What I normally do on these O-ring gaskets like this, I normally put some silicone, high temp silicone on the gasket. That kind of keeps some of the heat off of the O-ring, because that heat on aluminum or cast iron builds up pretty hot and it will melt these gaskets over time. So I normally just get some high temp grade silicone and spread it on the block or whatever part I'm putting on. I put a heavy bit, so keep some of the heat off of that. But there's that. It comes with these little fittings, screw in things. I think that's where you bleed it at. Is that where you bleed it? I don't know what. I guess in case you don't have that hose. unless it goes on top of that. Cause you got to put that hose on there. This is actually the bleeder right here. That's what that is. This is the bleeder. So that little cap, it's got an O-ring that goes on it. So you just take that little top out of there, replace it with this one with the O-ring. This is how you bleed the system. So learn something new. Even though I probably knew it, just forgot about it. This is the old one junk and new one. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing prepped up and ready and get it back on there, and then we'll crank it up. Well, we'll put some coolant in it. Actually, got some coolant. This is the coolant it was calling for. It's kind of that yellowish stuff. So we'll put that in there and fire it up, let it run. Hopefully the heat gets hot, and no more crazy temperature gauge hand movements. Alright, so I was putting the little nipple that came with the new housing on, and I noticed that that screw that comes with it, this actually goes on side of the housing. I guess in case yours don't have this hose, bleeder hose, you don't have to put that nipple in there. You can just put that screw in there, and that's how you bleed the air out of the system. But when it's on the motor, it's like that. So if you just got the screw in there, you have to reach around there and take that screw out to bleed the air out of the system. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing on there and we'll get it bled out. Alright, so I got the housing back on, I got the hoses hooked up. This, like I said, is the bleeder. I got it loose. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take that little cap out and I'm going to fill it up with some coolant until the coolant runs out. And once the coolant starts running out of there, then the system should be full and no air in the system. Then I'll put the air duct back on for the throttle body, and should be good. So let me put some coolant in. This thing was really empty. I didn't know it was that empty. When I took the hose off, nothing came out. Just a little bit, really. So should start coming through there a little bit. Might have to crank it up. Let the water pump it up there, but I hear it circulating though. Hopefully it's nothing else wrong. Something else that got heated up and cracked, but it wasn't just steaming like it got super hot. It's just the temperature hand was just kind of fluctuating, and you can hear it gurgling through the hoses. So we might have to crank it up. Well, it's filling up the radiator. Make sure I ain't got no leaks nowhere else. I don't see nothing. I keep filling it up until Should start coming through there in a minute. Should get something here. I'll try it one more time. Fill it up some more. I don't know how much more is going to hold in that bottle. Well, I have to put the tube back on the throttle body because the mass airflow sensor won't read. And then we have a check engine light on. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna hook all this back up. Then I'll crank it. Just to prevent having to get the scanner out. I don't know what that was about out there, but I'm not out there. Don't want to have to get the scanner out. Reset the check engine light and all that. Plus it won't run right without that tube on there anyway. So I'm just going to hook it all back up like it's supposed to be. While I was putting the hose on, it started coming out. So it should be full. Let me put a little bit more. It just took a minute to get past probably the check valve on the thermostat. It's starting to leak out of there now. There it goes. So system should be full. No air. Nice and tight. So now we can crank it up. Put the reservoir cap back on. We'll crank it up and let it warm up. And see, does the heat get hot? So I got it running, starting to heat up. Actually, this thing's got 224,000 miles on it. We've had this thing for probably 10 or 12 years. I think it had right at 98,000 miles on it, I think. No real, well, I did put a transmission in it one time. But other than that, it's starting to heat up now. Got my temp going. I got it set at 90. Hot though. Like I said, last night it was going all the way over to almost the H, you know, go to the middle, then it go to the H, just going back and forth real crazy, and that heat is just blowing cold air. It's hot though, real hot. So it's staying normal. Let's make sure we ain't got any leaks. Wondering where that spilled on top of the transmission. So I'm gonna say it's fixed. That's all it was. Starting to form up there a little bit. I think it's still got air in it. Kind of cooled off a little bit. Form itself firing already. Now the heat's getting much hot again. What's the hand? Take a while for that antifreeze to get back. Still got air in it, I think. Probably want to re-bleed it. Get that screw again. And we'll just take the top off. See the air bubbles. Probably best to bleed it with the car running. But we let some of the air off of there. So, go back. Out there for a minute. It's still hot. I have to rebleed it at that screw again.